intersection of good drinks, good music, and good times. This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations.
I think we've got another fun episode in store for us this week as we welcome in a country artist-songwriter. Her latest single, Easy, is out now. Let's welcome in Alannah McCready.
Thank you so much for having me. Again, the bells. My puppy, I can't.
Well, I was going to say, normally I start off with a question about a drink, but, you know, what's dog mom life like these days for you?
Well, I mean, I am having the lifeblood of just life for me right now is a Diet Coke. But my puppy is one today, and I taught him I potty trained him with the bells on my door. And so now he's switched it to where anytime he thinks he needs attention, he rings the bell, pretends like he needs to go outside. So me being distracted with this equals him thinking he needs to go ring the bell. And I'm like, we were just outside. You don't have to go. It's ridiculous.
Well, if you follow Alannah on her social media, you can see the cute puppy. I understand. I completely understand. But so is Diet Coke your go-to drink these days? Kind of what you're going with?
No. Well, I mean, Diet Coke is always a good idea, but I mean, if I'm out or if I'm playing a show or something, it's definitely, I'm a vodka girl. I don't know why I get judged by that, but like,
no
even
judging.
my band judges me. They're like, vodka. And I'm like, you're drinking warm Crown. So it's like, who's the psycho? Me or you? So, but yeah, I would say, especially during shows, I'm a Tito's and coconut Red Bull gal because we play for like 4 hours. So
that way you stay focused, stay energized, and you're good to go,
two
right?
birds with one stone in that situation.
Well, I got a little 10-day little high rye bourbon for tonight.
Oh my gosh, that's such a little cutie.
Yeah, see, I get lucky enough to get little samples every now and then, so they come in little bottles. So,
fun fact about me, I love mini things. Like that's like I like mini versions of like things. Like at restaurants.
So you have just a collection of everything mini.
Yeah, like my makeup or like everything. I'm like, comes in mini size. I'm like, why do I don't need a mini size. Like it's not what I need. Or like at restaurants when they have the little mini like ketchup bottles, but they're an exact replica of the big bottle, and it's just like so cute. I'm like, it's genius.
Hey,
anyways, don't tell anybody that.
Well, we might have a problem with that, So, hey, I've talked to people, it's better than, taking things from the restaurant and doing other things like that.
No, that's true. That's true.
So, now, I do have to ask this question. What was it like I mentioned you get the new single, Easy, out, that is out now. What was it like seeing yourself on the sign in Nashville, being up in Times Square? I mean, that had to be pretty cool.
I'm like, this is not real life. Like, what? Like the Times Square one, I was in Florida at one of my best friend's wedding. And I was in the wedding. We were on the beach doing the like rehearsal dinner, and I got the email with the video of the Times Square billboard in it. And I'm like, this weekend, and then I'm like, wait a second, I'm about to cry. This weekend is not about me. Let me just like go down the beach a little bit and cry by myself for a second. Well, because I can't believe this is real. And so I'm like, you know what, guys, I'll be right back. But the Nashville one was amazing because I actually got to go and see it in person, which was really cool. And my the bells. And my neighbor, who's also one of my really good friends, came with me to see the Nashville one, and my publicist came, and it was just a fun moment to actually see it in person. So I cried at both. So
I was gonna say, hey, well, you've had a long journey in all of this,
yeah,
and we'll talk about that maybe in a little bit because while we're talking about your music and that career now, at one point, and I'm guessing still to this day, you were a pretty good hockey player, right?
I was decent. Yeah, yeah, I was decent. Uh, yeah, I'm from Minnesota, so when you turn 3, you get skates. So it's actually I think it's might be 2 now. My nephew just turned 2, and he already has his first pair of skates. So I think the age has the age has even gotten younger. But so I grew up, my whole life playing hockey and being from the state of hockey, and then my mom is from Oklahoma, and so I grew up with country music with her, so it's just like this amazing little combo that I got to grow up with. And I and singing, I in high school I was the only person who played a sport and was also in choir. And so they used to have
That
that
seems
was like
like
the
a
first.
difficult combination, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, very difficult. It was the first time that my school had ever, like the choir department and the hockey coaches, the first time they ever had to like discuss scheduling like with each other was because of me. And there were times where I would have to do one or the other. So I would be, if it was like a really important game or a playoff game, I would be in with my choir director in the morning singing all my soprano parts just like to him by myself to get credit for the concert that I couldn't attend that night because I had to go play a game. And then, at the games, I'm singing the national anthem in my goalie equipment in the penalty box, and then skating out and going and playing. And at the time, it just seemed so normal to me. But I think back now, and I'm like, all of the other teams' fans are probably like, "What is happening?"
Well, I mean, I feel like nowadays, though, you do see that from time to time. A baseball player, softball player going
Yeah,
out and singing in their uniform, basketball. But maybe then it might have been a little bit of a shock. And is
for
it true
sure,
too
especially in
that
goalie equipment.
that's what I was gonna say? So, did you go to like a goalie camp at one point? Because I don't feel like anyone sets up to be a goalie, and then go,
Yeah,
mate, I'm really good at this.
It's, I mean, are you wondering why I volunteered to throw my body in front of people
Hmm.
shooting frozen rubber at me as hard and as fast as I possibly can?
Yeah.
So, so when in Minnesota, when you're younger, there's all of these like skating camps. And so when I was 10, my brother and I were doing a skating camp, and when you're that young, everyone sort of has to take turns playing goalie and all the different things. And of course, no one wants to do it for some reason. I don't know why. And so it was my turn to play goalie, and I think I had maybe 3 shots from 9 and 10-year-olds, which is like nothing. And I stopped all 3, and I got off the ice, and I looked at my parents, and I said, "I'm really good at this. I think I'm gonna play goalie." My parents were like,
Oh.
"Oh, okay." Okay. And it stuck. I mean, I loved it. Love it. I still play in a men's league here in Nashville in the winter, and it's still a huge part of my life. And now I get to, teach my nephew about it, which is really exciting.
I was gonna say now, are you a Predators fan? Or are you a Wild fan? Someone else? Where does your allegiance lie these days?
So I'm a Wild fan through and through. Always been a Wild fan since they were, initiated. And but when the Wild, like when it comes down to playoffs and stuff, when the Wild are out, I'm a Preds fan. So I've lived in a lot of states in my life, and I've always said that if I'm not going to root for the Wild or the team from where I'm from in any sport, it's the team from where I live. And when I lived in Atlanta, that was kind of tough because Winnipeg took the took the NHL
Well,
team,
no,
but
and I mean, could you really do the Rangers or the Islanders? I mean, when you were in New York, that feels icky.
that's yucky. I don't think I like that. I didn't know.
So
But
who do you
now
think?
this
I was
year,
gonna say now
I'm
you're
like,
doing good.
well, this year I'm like, do I need to? I look at the teams that are left, and I'm like, am I a Rangers fan right now? Like,
Hmm.
I'm
You can
like,
pull for them. or it could just be like me and my team's been out for didn't make it this year, so it's
We
great,
we didn't even make it this year either.
Although I've been spoiled most of my life. I grew up in Pittsburgh, so
Oh,
so yeah.
yeah. You got Sid the kid. You're good to go.
Yeah, and we had a pretty good goalie there for a while in Flurry, so
Pretty
you know,
pretty good. Now we have him.
I know you got a little flower power up there, and
Exactly.
um, now you also talked about you do this thing of music. You've loved music all your life, but is it true that you were singing to wedding guests at like 4 years old, drawing yourself singing on stage at that age too? Like, so apparently this was destined to happen.
Oh yeah. I actually every time I go home, I always tell my parents I want to take this drawing back like to my house, and they're like, "No, we're never getting rid of it." It's like this oval drawing. I sure have a picture somewhere of me. I drew a picture when I was, I think it was like 4 or 5 or something, of me singing to a crowd of people, and then I wrote on there, oh, "I'm happy when I sing," and my parents framed it, and they have it in their house. And I always want to steal it, but they will never give it to me. But yeah, from that young, and then my parents would. My mom said she would find me at weddings at like 4, 5, 6 years old, and I would be like in the bathroom chatting with all the old grandmas, singing them songs. It's just,
Hey,
I'm like, where did the confidence come from?
hey, you're doing it now. You're doing it now. So it
That's
came back
true.
around. It came
That's
back
true.
around, and you mentioned your mom being from Oklahoma, and that's kind of where you found music. With her listening to stuff. But was anyone else in your family like musical, like, or is that kind of where everything kind of came from? Was just her playing music that you liked?
Well, my dad is tone deaf, which is
I
really
understand.
unfortunate. Yeah, he loves music and he listens to all types of music and knows what he likes. Like, singing is just not his thing. But my grandma, my dad's mom, she is a really good vocalist, and when I was growing up, she was in this group called Sweet Adelines, and they were all of these grandmas, like, and they did this choir every week, and my grandma would take me with her to the rehearsals and stuff, and I'd just be singing with all of these all these grandmas in a choir, and it was so fun. But yeah, she has an amazing voice, and my mom has a really good voice, and my brother actually is, he can sing too. He just doesn't like to. He's more behind the scenes. He's a producer, so he likes to be more behind the,
The man behind the
not in
curtain.
front of people. Yeah, he's. I used to try to get him to do musicals and plays all the time. Like, you have a good voice. Do it like in middle school and high school. He's like, no, why would I do that?
Mm-mm.
I'm like,
Nah.
whatever.
Well, and
Like,
then,
now you're a producer.
well, and it sounds like basically maybe it skipped a generation with your dad and went to you,
Yeah.
and so it's fun how those things happen. And I'm guessing your mom being from Oklahoma brought the country music into your life. Is that kind of how that worked?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I still remember even driving around when I was little and just screaming. Our favorite song to sing in the car was "She's in Love with the Boy," Trisha Yearwood,
Mm.
and so we used to sing that all the time. But I grew up, listening to all the amazing, powerful women of country of the '90s. Martina, Faith, Trisha, Shania. And they're still all my favorites to this day. And I, taught myself basically how to sing by listening to them, and fell in love with country music because of them. And um, to be where I am now, I hope that some like girls going around singing with their mom maybe are singing my songs and thinking the same thing and thinking that they want to do it, or something like that. And I don't know, it's amazing. I love it.
Well, and I read too where obviously anyone that has ever played a sport in college understands this. It's hard to do anything else. That is your job and in your life, despite what people think. And
Yeah.
so I'm guessing you weren't able to do music then. until you. So did the music kind of stop there for a little while before, and then you eventually said, "No, wait, I want to give this a go."
Yeah, especially in college. So I did both. Um, Choir, musicals, all that kind of stuff, and hockey all through high school. And then once I got to college, it, obviously hockey became much like very serious. It's playing a D1 sport, we take it very seriously, and the schools take it very seriously, especially, you're on scholarship. They're paying for you to be there to, play hockey for them. And so my coach was like, yeah, we're not going to do the whole distraction thing like before the game. So I would do it for the men's games or the other sports and stuff like that, in order just to still sing in front of people, because it's my favorite thing to do. And but during college, I definitely had to put it on the back burner, because of, like you said, it's like having a full-time job and being in school. And with the NCAA, there's a lot of rules, and you can't promote yourself doing anything else other than what, they're putting you on scholarship to do. And so there's a lot of like red tape and fine lines and, stuff like that. And so I just found myself journaling more and, singing for my team. Like we always would do these lunches before games, team dinners, team lunches or whatever. And I would sing for them and like anytime I could. And then, once I graduated and I was working in New York, and I, it was still kind of on the back burner. I was like, oh, I'm going to start real life, because playing a Division I sport is not reality in any way, shape, or form, especially at a school like Wisconsin, where it's just, they're so amazing to us. And so I was like, oh, let me start real life. And, I'm doing the corporate America thing. And then I was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be doing music. I just know I am. And so got an opportunity to do that. And I've been doing, this year will be 11 years being a full-time artist, which is insane. And I just knew that if I didn't do it then, I probably would never do it, and I would regret it. So
Well,
leaped.
well, I was gonna say you took the leap. You went down to Nashville, and is it true during that recording session or something like this that you asked your publisher at the time if they thought you had what it took, and you're like, no, give it to me honest? I feel like that's a very athlete thing.
Yeah.
Tell it to me honestly. I need to know, and then that's when things maybe changed for you.
Yeah, it's you know what? No one's ever said it like that. It's a very athlete thing to do. Like, listen, what you're gonna put me on the team or not? But yeah, no, I did a recording session, and it just felt so right. And I asked him after. I was like, listen, you're in this industry. You're not gaining anything from blowing smoke to me or whatever. So I was like, this is the perfect person to ask. And, I was just like, do you think I can do this as a career? Because I think I can. And I think that's what I should be doing. And, what are your thoughts on that? And he was like, no, I definitely think that you could do this as a career. And I'm like, now I think back, I'm like, I'm so just like delusional. I was like, okay, quit my job. Quit my job, move. Just like, sure.
Well, I mean, if you don't try, you'll never know, right?
Yes, the motto, that's very similar to the motto my dad has pounded into my brain since I can even remember, is if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So
Well, and you got told yes, you had a chance, and
I
you took
did.
that chance, and you mentioned journaling and stuff during college. Is that where most of your kind of first songwriting came from, and the songs off that first record came from?
Yeah, and it wasn't until I was recording my first record that I, I was going through notes and journals and, entries and stuff that I had written down. And it wasn't until I was writing the first record that I realized that entire time I had been songwriting. And, I had never really been into songwriting before that. I was much more of just like a vocalist and, perfecting being a vocalist and classically trained and all that kind of stuff. And so recording my first album, and I'm like, all those journals and all that stuff I went through in college ended up creating my first album. And I was like, it was such a cool moment for me because I realized that I was still doing music even though I had no idea that I was still doing music. And I really honestly to this day don't think my ex knows that like that whole album is about him.
Oops.
I wonder if he does.
Maybe that's another song.
Curious.
Well, and as you talk about it, journaling, clearly that's coming from personal experiences. As you've now grown as a songwriter, where does the inspiration come from? Is it always those experiences? Maybe it's now an idea. How does it work for you?
Yeah, for me, I try to be as transparent and honest as possible when I'm writing because I play my music live. I love playing live. And so I want people to, when they hear me play my music live or they listen to my music and then they meet me in person or hear me talk, it matches. I think that my favorite artists, especially current artists like, Kelsey Ballerini, Carly Pierce, like the true like songwriter, really just genuine songwriting and singing. When you meet them and you're like, okay, this tracks, like they match their music and what they're saying, and it's not an act, it's not, and you can get that from songs other people have written too, but as long as it lines up with your life, I feel like the more authentic it is, and that's how you create a more authentic fan base and people who really believe in what you're singing. And for me, my last couple EPs and singles and stuff have all come from something that I've been through or something that my friends go through. I'm like my friend's like therapist, and I didn't, it's just I give great advice. I don't take it, so maybe that's why I get all.
Well, and sometimes apparently you break patient confidentiality and maybe write a song about it.
Yeah, sorry guys, but I actually, when I was home, I was in the studio a couple of weeks ago, and I texted my best friends, and I was like, "Oh, I wrote a song about you today." They're like, I'm like, no,
Like,
it's like a
on
good
what?
one. Yeah, like it's a good one. Or, I have my one of my best friends is also a songwriter, and she'll text me and be like, "Sorry, I used your relationship as inspo again today. I apologize." Like I'm just like, great. So yeah,
Such is life of a songwriter.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, you're welcome. But I try to keep it very close to the chest of things that I've gone through, or my friends or my family, or people close to me, because I know if I've gone through it, it's not just us. It's not just me and my friends that are going through it. And so we're definitely not the only ones. So someone's going to relate to it, and even if it's one or two people, that's all that matters.
I was gonna say, when people see themselves in songs, it's a totally different feeling. And for your latest single, "Easy," what drew you to that song?
So Easy, it's a little bit different than a lot of my other music. It's definitely more on the pop side, but still has my vibe to it, if that makes sense, which I love. Actually, the one of my best friends that I was just talking about, who texted me, was like, "Oh, we used you as a inspo today." Her and I wrote it together, and it'll be which is crazy. This is the first time I've ever released something that we've written, but she knows me so well, obviously, and so it was very easy for us to write something for me about a specific situation that no one knows but us. Yes. Other people probably know, but they're not going to know.
They might be wondering the entire time. And
Yeah.
so you got "Easy." That's the first song you had released in a little while. You dropped
Yep.
"Back to Me" EP with 5 songs in 2022. What was it like to kind of have that little gap, but also with the "Back to Me" EP, you had great response off of it as well.
Yeah. Back to Me was the first original music I released in like almost 4 years, which was crazy, through COVID and all that stuff. And I took a break from touring even before COVID hit. And then when it hit, we all had to take a break. And so I took that time to create and kind of switch my energy to make new music and write new music. And I'm so proud of that project because not only did it resonate with so many people, which makes me so happy, but it was the first thing I'd released in 4 years, and I felt like it was a project that is very authentically me and who I am as an artist and a songwriter now. So all my music prior to that is obviously who I am, but it's who I was during those time periods. And now I've grown, I've lived more life, I've done more things, I've, experienced more situations, and I feel like I'm in my lane of artistry and songwriting that I've always wanted to be in. And so that was really exciting for me to have such a good response from it. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, whew, I'm like, yeah, like, yikes. But then I kind of took a beat, especially for the last year, because I was getting really into a groove here in Nashville and playing live, and all of majority of the end of the year, mostly the end of the year last year and beginning of the year this year, I had 2 residencies here in Nashville, so I'm like playing a lot and playing out a lot and touring a lot and all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of like to go tennis with it and go back and forth. And then like towards the end of last year, I was like, got the itch to do new music again. And so Easy is the first single off of the next album, which is almost done.
Ooh. Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say you got Easy, and so I take it at some point. You don't want to get yourself in trouble with anyone.
I do all the
But
time. I'll just
well,
wait for someone to text me and yell at me.
well, hopefully they don't. But if you
Yeah.
you say something you're not supposed to, I'm okay with it. So
Yeah.
new music is coming though for folks that are a fan of Easy and you.
Oh yeah. The next single off the project will hopefully be within the next like couple months here. It's being mixed and mastered right now. And the rest of the album is written and demoed out. So it's on its way, and it is. I might be biased, but it's really good. I'm really excited about it. And the next single is a complete polar 180 from Easy, but I kind of like that. So it'll kind of give everyone 2 sides of what the project is going to be about. It'll be a little bit of everything.
I was gonna say it'll give a complete picture of who you've been able to come to be over this past decade plus, and you talk about
Ugh.
everything. I know it's wild when you say it out loud, but what's it been
Yeah.
like for you as this journey as an independent artist? Because I'm guessing, like you said, in the past few years is kind of when you really found your sound, who you wanted to be, and that's a huge thing because not everyone's able to do that at any point. So I'm guessing the journey's been quite the ride for you.
Yeah, and I think that especially with songwriting, you're never done learning or evolving or changing as a songwriter. And, if you think you are, then you're wrong because there's always new things, there's always new people to write with. That's why I love doing co-writes, because you get to, work with other people and see their vibe and see how they create and things like that. So I love doing co-writes for that reason. And actually the new album has I think like 4 or 5 different co-writes on it, which is the first time I've ever done that. So I'm really excited about that. But the last 10 years has been, it's a roller coaster. Our industry is a roller coaster, and I've had some really high highs, some really low lows, and that's where I think too that having the athletic mindset comes into play, because as an athlete, especially at a high level, you have to learn how to win, but you also have to learn how to lose. And they're two very important things. And to be able to stay mentally tough through the good stuff and the bad stuff and not let yourself go off the handle either direction is really hard to do in this industry. And um, I'm just really proud of myself, honestly, that I'm still kicking and still kicking in this whole world situation of country music. But I love what I do, and I wouldn't want to do anything else. And I think that's where the basis of it is. When you do it, and until you don't love it, and it's I love it. I still have so much fun doing it. It makes me so happy, and it makes all of the bad stuff worth it. You know, Especially last week, seeing myself on a friggin' the Nashville sign. I was like, what? No, everything's perfect. What do you mean?
Got a new
Nothing
song
nice
on the
ever
sign,
happened.
album coming, and that's what I was gonna say. So many people forget what it took all these other artists to get to where they were. There was a lot of what you're talking about, that long journey, and and
Yeah,
it's cool,
playing
and
for two people.
you know, well, and
playing for two,
you're
playing for two people
doing.
in a bar.
I always like to ask this. You talk about whether it's two people, 2,000. What's your favorite song to perform? I'm always curious. Is it one of yours? Someone else's?
You know, I think it depends on the situation. I'd say I probably have three answers.
Okay.
So, my favorite song to sing live is Tin Man, Miranda Lambert, mostly because I wish I wrote it. And my
Okay.
other favorite song to sing live that is not mine. I mean, it's I would say the most requested song that I get ever at every show is well, any Carrie Underwood song, but Before He Cheats gets requested literally every day. And it's so fun to sing that live because people scream it and they're just so into it every time, regardless of what's happening. And it's also a song that when I was way younger, I was singing, doing karaoke, and now I'm singing it for a whole room, giant bar of people. And it's just like a cool thing for me. Original songs, oh, it's so tough. Back to Me is really, really fun to play live, so probably that one.
I like it because it's always curious because especially if you get the band involved, some of them like different things, whether they get to do a little
Oh yeah.
solo or not. So, like I said, I always love asking that. And you talk about being able to be on stage these days, doing that, and you've had the residencies, been able to do tours with folks and open for people. What's the best part of being on stage and performing for you?
It's my happy place. It's no matter what is going on when I actually had this conversation with my bassist. He was just having a really tough day a couple weeks ago, and we were about to play at Barstool. We just started a residency at Barstool here in Nashville, which is so fun. I'm actually wearing a sweatshirt right now. But he was just having just a terrible day. And I was like, you want to know the best part about the next 4 hours of today and our jobs? And he was like, what? And I was like, you don't have to think about anything else. You you just get to play music, do what you love, and be present with us and all of these people that are just obsessed with you and how good you are at what you do. And you don't have to think about anything else for the next 4 hours except that. And I think that's the best part is it doesn't matter what's going on. You get up, you flip a switch, and you just get to do what makes you happiest on stage, and nothing else matters.
I was gonna say you get to be kind of just out there. Again, I feel like you being an athlete is just kind of all full circle for you, and you kind of get to do something pretty cool. And like I said, you got the Easies out now, and folks need to give that a listen if they haven't. New music's coming at some point. Keep the tease going there. What else, though, can folks expect from you this year?
Lots of shows. Hopefully some festivals. I think all the schedules and stuff are all happening right now. I will be a part of CMA Fest this year again, which is super awesome. So I'm doing a signing with Roper at the fanfare. So I'm excited about that. And then just playing live. We now play at Barstool every weekend, Friday and Saturday. And we're actually going up to do the Chicago location at the end of June. So that will be fun. And just, I don't know, just enjoying it. It's going to be fun to be doing residencies and putting out music at the same time this year. It'll be the first time that I've been doing that. So I'm excited.
I was going to say, you'll be able to tease everyone with some new music and give them a little preview of everything. And
exactly.
Like I said, I love the song Easy.
Thank you.
I've been a fan of your music for a while now, and
thank you.
Thanks for sharing a drink with me and your story.
Oh, of course. Me and my Diet Coke. I probably should have put a shot in it.
You could say you did. No one would know.
That's true. This is Crown and Coke in honor of my band, who drinks warm Crown shots. So gross. I can't even think. It's so disgusting. I'm like,
hey,
y'all can order anything from this bar.
And that's why they can't say anything about your vodka.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, my Tito's and coconut rebel. They're like, ugh. I'm like, me. Mine has ice in it, at least.
See, you're the smart one. You're the smart one. Well, Alannah, this has been a blast, and I do truly appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
Find more from Hops and Spirits at hopspirits.com.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.